He is Dr. Sanjay Gupta here on the Rich Eisen Show. We had a fan of the show call in before and wanted me to ask you in regards to social distancing, which you pointed out, we're all practicing hygiene, that my hygiene practices affects you and vice versa, Dr. Gupta. How can we all get on the same page? I'm seeing all these, we're all seeing all these sporting events get canceled, and then I saw a Post Malone concert in Denver have 20,000 people in Denver last night. How do we all get on the same page that way?
Well, I think, look, unlike China, this is not an autocratic country. In China, they basically said, we're going to shut down very large areas of the country, or very large populations, I should say, 60 million people, in the Hubei province. That's just not something that we're likely to see in America. But having said that, the president today is going to likely be declaring a national emergency. There hasn't been these triggers, I think, Rich, to say, okay, now at this point, here's the point at which you shut down schools. Here's the point where you prevent mass gatherings. Here's the point where large corporations have to say their employees all work from home. It's been sort of ad hoc. Governor Cuomo declared a containment area. Go back to President Trump when the passengers came out of China and there was 195 people in quarantine. It was a significant move. We hadn't had quarantines in this country in 60 years since smallpox. People may not realize that. Some of what's happening right now are things that haven't happened in a very, very long time. Some of them have never happened before. So I think, to answer your question, I think as part of the national emergency, there may be a greater uniformity, if you will, to some of these things. Concerts, it may come down that there's a proclamation that there cannot be mass gatherings anymore of a certain size. And I'm happy to explain what the rationale on that is.
Please.
But, in part it is obviously health, right? You got a virus. If you got a bunch of people who are together that can't distance themselves at least 3 to 6 feet, that virus is likely to spread. So what all these things are fundamentally about is trying to break the cycle of transmission. If you can break the cycle of transmission, the virus can't go from host to host. Right now we are the hosts, humans. And so if you can break that cycle of transmission with time, the virus starts to peter out and, can't find hosts. And that's how we've helped address pandemics in the past, including SARS, which is another coronavirus. So that's part of the goal. But there's another part to it as well, and I think this might actually be more relevant to people.
Sure.
And that is that if somebody, let's say you're at one of these mass gatherings or concert or whatever it might be, and somebody subsequently in a day or two tests positive, what's going to happen? The public health department at that point is going to want to do what's called contact tracing and figure out who are all the people this person who's tested positive may come in contact with. And they're going to go find those people and likely tell those people they now have to quarantine themselves for 14 days. So it's obviously medical concern is the primary concern, but the idea of the social disruption around this, not to mention the amount of efforts it takes by the public health community to then go find all those people, it's a significant effort to do that, is significant as well. It's something that in the middle of a pandemic like this, you'd rather not have your public health people trying to find all the people who attended a particular concert and sat in such and such section because they may be potentially infected. And by the way, they may not all live in that city. People may have come from other cities. People may have come from other states. They're going back to their home states. Who were they in contact with over there? You can see what an effort it is. A mass gathering like that in the midst of a pandemic is both a medical and social sort of concern.